So I hope everyone has joined our session. So we'll get started now. And before we get started, again a quick audio and video check. So please give me a confirmation if you guys can able to hear my voice and if my screen is visible. Yeah, all right. Thank you for that quick reaction. So let's get started without any further delay. So the first topic that we will be looking into our day two training is going to be automation with workflow. Right. So before understanding this topic, let us have a quick recap of what we saw in our day one training session. Right. So talking about the topics that we discussed in our day one session, we had a introduction to low code platform. What does this low code do, and how effectively you can build an application in the low code platform. Right. After then, we were discussing about the Zoho Creator platform, which is currently we are in the version 6, right? So we were discussing about the platform and its feature. And after then, we were talking about the walkthrough of the final application. So this is the part where we were discussing about the application. What is the application that we are going to build in this 3 days training program, right? And then moving forward, we learned about the different components in Creator, right? So we started with, we started learning by, we started learning with the forms and the fields. Along with that, we also learned about the form properties. And not only those, we also learned about two unique or the interesting field, which is the lookup and the subform, right? So how you can establish a relationship between two forms, all that has been discussed in the lookup and subform topic, right? So these are all the topics that we covered in our day two session, right? So I hope you guys are much familiar with the forms, the fields, and the rest of the properties. Right now, moving forward in this day two training session, we will be learning about the automation part, and along not only the automation, we will also be learning about the other components like reports, pages. And once it is done, we will then be learning about the different solution. So currently the forms, the workflow, the report, and the pages are in the application solution, right? Whereas talking about the other solutions, we have the BI and analytics and the integration flow. So we will also be discussing about the integration and the BI and analytics in the second half of our session. Right. So in the first half, we are going to learn about the automation with workflow, reports, and the pages. And the first half of the session is going to be covered by me. So myself, Niveta. So let's get started now. Now, the agenda for the workflow automation is we will be understanding what is workflow automation, and then we will be understanding the different types of workflow available, and we will be discussing about all those different types of workflow in detail. Right. So we have form workflow, schedule workflow, approval workflow, payment workflow, and the blueprint. So let's get started. So what are basically a workflow? How it will help in your application. Now, talking about the application that you have built in your created platform, there might be a situation where you would like to perform few set of automations within the application, right? So what is automation I meant here? So let's say anything that cannot be anything that is going to be repetitive, and anything that is going to be a manual entry, all that can be automated with the help of workflow, right? So workflow automation, it comprises a set of action executed at specific instances. So all you have to do is you just need to know when you want to execute and what needs to be executed, right? And creating workflows and add actions to automate routine tasks in your application. So by creating this workflow, it will reduce all the manual and the repetitive task, right? So you can create a workflow, and it will start executing in the as a daily routine in your application, right? So an example, setting the default value for the quantity field in an order form. So you can go ahead and set a default quantity. So based on that quantity, from that quantity, the customer should place an order. It shouldn't go below, or it shouldn't go below, but it can go higher than the default value, right? So that can be performed with the help of automation. Now, this is the part I was talking about, when to do and what to do. So you need to know when you need to execute your workflow and what needs to be executed, right? So talking about the types of workflow, in Creator, we have form workflow, scheduler workflow, report workflow, approval workflow, and the blueprint, right? So these are all the type of workflow that we will be looking into in today's session. So what is form workflow? So within the form workflow, I mean, whatever the actions, or whatever the whatever set of action that needs to be performed within your form, that can be achieved with the help of form workflow, right? So you will have an option, which is the form event, where you will be choosing whether you need to execute your workflow when it is created, or whenever it is created or edited, or when it is edited or deleted. So these are the four form events where you will be defining on which basis that the workflow should get triggered, right? And this is the UI for the form workflow, where you'll be choosing a respective form, and this is the record event that I was talking about, and the form event. So on when it should get triggered, and you will be giving a name to the workflow. So as you can see here, under under the form event, we have different set of we have different set of actions, like before form submission, on form submission, and the after form submission. So what is before form submission? So before form submission is nothing but whenever a form is getting submitted, whenever it is going to get submitted, on that basis, if you'd like to perform any automations, that can be performed. So for example, you can see the options here, right? We have field rules, load of the form, user input of a field. So talking about the field rules, you can set any automation, you can write any workflows for your fields that you have inside your form. And talking about the load of the form, excuse me. So whenever a form is getting loaded, whenever you would like to trigger any workflow, you can go with the load of the form. And then we have the user input of a field. So this is where, when a user is when the user is adding any data in the respective field, on basis of the data that he entered, if you would like to trigger any workflow, that comes under the user input of a field. And on form submission, so this is where, whenever when your form is getting submitted, on that case, if you would like to trigger any workflow, so for that, we have validation on form submission. So this validation on form submission is nothing but, let's say that you have set a minimum quantity, like five is going to be the minimum quantity. So if the customer is placing an order below the 5 quantity, then while submitting the form, it should prompt them, right? It should prompt them, and it should stop them from submitting the form, right? So that is something can achieve with the help of validation on form submission. And what if I would like to perform any automations after the form is submitted? So for that, we have the after form submission. So under this, we have the action called successful form submission. So let's say, for example, when a customer is placing an order, and whenever he or she places an order, they would like to receive an update, right? So regarding their order. So on that case, you can configure the notification, and you can send them via email, SMS, or whatever, right? So that is achieved with the help of successful form submission action. So these are all the form event. And then we have the different set of actions within the workflow. So when we talk about the actions, we have notification, field actions, data access, integration, and the custom action. So talking about the notification, whenever you would like to send any email notification, or SMS, or mobile notification, or any success message, or redirect to a URL, all that comes under the notification. So for example, let's say that I would like to send an email notification to my customer regarding their order updates. So that is achieved, that can be achieved with the help of notification. And then we have the field actions. So field action is where whenever you would like to perform any actions within the field that is present in the form, right? So for example, let's say that I have a email field. So I can hide the email field, or I can disable the email field. That can be achieved in the field actions. And we have the data access. So data access is nothing but we have the different set of actions like add record, update record, delete record. All these comes under the data access. So whenever a record is added, if I would like to perform any automation, that can be achieved. Or when it is updated or when it is deleted, that can be performed. And then we have the integration. So as you can see in the action, it is stating push data to Zoho CRM, push data to Zoho Desk. So we have 5 default services where you can push data from your Zoho Creator application to Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, Zoho Recruit, Salesforce, and the QuickBooks. So integration possibilities also there in the workflow. And we have the custom actions. So all these actions can be performed. You can go ahead and perform it where we will have a set of configuration only that can be done, and your workflow will be created. Whereas if you would like to create your own customized actions, own customized workflow, on that case you will be going to the custom action, right, where you will be writing the deluge script to perform different set of actions or different set of workflows in your application, right? And then so that is all about the form workflow and its different set of actions. Now we have different workflows, right? So let's understand the other workflow, which is the schedule workflow. So schedule workflow, it executes the action on a future date and time. So there are like two ways where you can create your schedule workflow. So one is you can create it based on the future date and time. The other one is going to be you can execute the actions based on the date field that you have in your form, right? So based on the date field that you have in your form, an action will be triggered. Whereas I don't want to trigger the action based on the date field. What is the other step? So on that case, you can go with the future date and time, where you will set a certain date and time. On that date or the time, the workflow will be executed. So you will schedule the workflow and you will execute it, right? So that is about the schedule workflow. So for example, let's say I would like to send a weekly newsletter to my organization people, right? So to my internal employees. So on that case, I can go with the future date and time, and I can send a daily newsletters to the internal employees, right? So I can schedule the time and the date. I can schedule the time and the date. On basis of the date that I have scheduled, the email newsletter will be sent to the employees. And so these are the two different schedule workflow that I was talking about. Specify date and time, choose a date field, right? So these are the two different types. And based on date field is going to be, you will be choosing the respected date field in your form. You will be choosing the form and then the field, right? So we will be discussing all this in the demo part as well. And we have the other workflow, which is approval workflow. So approval workflow is nothing but, so for example, let's say in my organization I have a separate leave management system, right? So this leave management system works based on the manager approval or the TL's approval, the team leads approval, right? So on that case, this what I can do is, in order to create those approval, I can go with the approval workflow. I can create the workflow, and the notification will be sent to the manager, whoever we are configuring. They will be receiving an notification, so they can approve the leave request, or they can reject the leave request. And also approval workflows can be multi-level and multi approvers on same level. So there will be different levels of approval, right? So first level can be, so for example, let's say for 5 days I can just get the team leads approval. What if it's going to be more than 5 days? So on that basis, on that case, the organization might have some rule, right? Maybe for 10 days leave approval, it should be approved only by the manager or by the CEO. On that case, you can create a multiple approval level, and based on the condition it will get executed, right? And then we have the payment workflow. So you can set up and collect the payment through payment gateways that we have. So in order to perform this particular workflow, you need to create a connection between the payment gateways that we already have, right? So once the connection is created, you can easily go ahead and make use of them inside your application, and the payment gateway will work within the application. So these are all the payment gateways that we support right now, which is the Authorize.net, Forte, PayPal, Payflow Pro, Payments Pro, Razorpay, Stripe, Paytm, and the PayTaps. So these are all the different workflows that we saw, and let's go to the live demo, and we will try all this by creating the new workflow within the application in the live demonstration. So for this, I'll go to the platform. So here we are into the platform. I'll show the application that we built. So this is the application that we built, right? Zilker Home Appliance. So this is the application that we built in the yesterday's training, right? So I'm using the same application. So I'll go to this application, and I'll go to the edit mode of this application. Now, to access the workflow, to go and create the workflow, there are two ways within your platform. So either you can go to you can click on this workflow which is available on top here, right? So you have the three tabs: design, workflow, and settings, right? So in the design is where you will be designing your UI, and workflow is where you will be performing different set of different set of automations, and settings is where you will be doing all the application setting. So either you can go ahead and create your workflow directly by choosing this option, or the other way to go and create your new workflow is you have the add new option over here, right? So you can click on this add new option, and over here you can see the different components, right? So we have form, report, page, and the workflow. So in yesterday's session we covered the form component. So right now we are going to understand the workflow, right? So I'll click on this workflow. As soon as I click on the workflow, all the different types of workflow will be listed over here: on form event, on schedule date, on function call, on batches of records, approval activity, payment activity, and on business process. Right. So let's go with the on form event. So we are going to perform few few form workflows. So I'll go with the on form event. So as soon as I click on that, it will ask me to choose form. So before that, let me also show you what I'm exactly going to do within the application. So I'll just access it. So right now we are in the orders form, where we will be adding all the customers details along with their product informations like the product name, the required quantity, and the subtotal. And once it is done, all the subtotal will be calculated into grand total. Right. So now over here you can see something called delivery type, right? So in the delivery type we have two options: one is home delivery, the other one is store pickup. So within this you can see we have two options, right? So also along with that we also have the address field to capture the customer's address. Now, so here, whenever the customer is choosing the home delivery, you have the address field where the customer will be adding their address, and we can deliver it to that respective address. Now, what if the customer is choosing the store pickup as his delivery type? So on that case, this particular field is not required, right? So for this, I'm gonna hide this particular address field whenever the customer chooses the store picker. So how this can be achieved? Now you can see, right, we have fields, and this is the field that I'm going to hide. Right, whenever I choose the store picker, this field should get hidden. So for this, again, it basically depends on the fields, right? So I'm going to go with the field actions, right? So before that, I'll be choosing from which form that I'm going to perform this automation. So I'll be choosing the order details, and run when the record is created, edited, created or edited or deleted. So when you would like to run this particular workflow, whether form, I mean, whether it is created, whether a record is created, or whether it is edited, or when it is created or edited, or when it is deleted, you need to choose the appropriate record event over here. So I'm gonna say created, and then when to trigger workflow. So here comes the form event. So when you would like to trigger a workflow, so as we discussed, right, we have three different types of actions: before form submission, on form submission, and the after form submission, right? So in the before form submission, so basically it's going to be before form submission, right? So because the customer or the employee will be adding the information, right? So it's going to be before form submission. Before submitting the form, I'll be adding the information, so it's going to be before form submission. And what is the action that I'm going to perform? It's going to be with the fields, right? So I'm going to hide this particular field. So for this, I'll go with the field rules, right? So I'll click on the field rules, and I'm going to give a name to the workflow. So whenever you are creating any workflow, it is a mandatory to give a name to that particular workflow. So I'll say hide. I'll just give hide fields. Now I'll create this workflow. So once it is created, it will take you to this page where it will ask you to add new action. So far we have just configured when to do and when to do, right? Now here is where we are going to configure what actions to be triggered, right? So for this, I'll click on the add new action, and over here you can see something called run this action. So this is a condition, this is the criteria or the condition that you can define over here. So whenever you would like to run this action on always, you can go with the always, or whenever it is going to run based on a condition, you can click on this on condition. So now, right now, when the customer chooses the store pickup, that's when I would like to hide the address field, right? So for this, I'm going to go with the on condition, and I'm going to say if the delivery type is equals to, here is where you'll be choosing the operator, and here is where you'll be choosing the field. If the delivery type is equals to store picker, then I would like to hide the address field. So these are all the actions that I have: hide fields, show field, enable field, disable, show or hide subform action. So this is specifically for the subform, and set field. Now I'm going to go with the hide field, and once I choose them, it will ask me which field should be hidden. So I'm going to say address field, and I'll save it. So now here you can see delivery type. If it is equal to store pickup, then it should then it should hide the address field, right? So now I'll click done, and I'll go to the live mode, and let's see if it is working. So right now, if I choose the home delivery, it shouldn't, this particular field should not hide. Now, what if I choose the store pickup? If I choose the store pickup, that particular field should be, that particular field should get hidden, right? So that is happening because we have written a workflow on the field rules. right? So this is again a very simple automation that you can achieve inside your application, right? So similarly, whenever you would like to perform any automation, whenever you would like to perform any automation on the form loads, so whenever a form is loading, you would like to fetch their email address, or you would like to give a default values in the subform, that can be achieved with the help of load of the form, right? So this is one short example that I can give you for the workflow. So here you can choose again the respective form, and you can choose the record event, and in the trigger you can go with the load of the form, user input of a field, or you can also go with the validation on form submission. Then we also have the successful form submission. So this is exactly how your form workflows work. The next I'm going to do is I'll again choose the order details form, and here I'm gonna say creator or editor, and here I'm going to say successful form submission. So what I'm going to perform is, once the order is submitted, so once this particular form is submitted by the customer, the customer should receive an email regarding their order confirmation. So whatever the email that they are giving in this particular field, based on that email, the user should receive an email regarding their order details, right? So this is what I'm going to do. And once it is submitted, it should get triggered. So for this, I'll go with the successful form submission, where it will be under the after form submission. So it's basically the workflow is executing after a form is getting submitted, right? So successful form submission, and I'm going to give a name saying order, let's say order confirmation. So now I'll click on this create workflow, and I'll click on the add new action. So from here, you can see the different set of actions, right? Notification, data access, integration, and the deluge script. So over here, I'm going to choose the notification. And in the notification, you can see the different actions like send email, send SMS, send notification, uh, show success message, redirect to URL. All these are different set of notifications. So now I'll go to the send email, because I wanted to send an email to my customers. So I'll go with the send email, and here is where you will be doing all the different set of configurations. So you will be choosing from email address. So the from email address can be admin email address, or the logged in user's email address, or even it can be a form field. So form field is nothing but you have a separate field, email field over here, right? Based on that field also, you can configure the from email address. Or if you'd like to directly configure any email address within this particular page, that is also possible. You can see the verified email address, right? So click on that and you can add a new email address. Now I'll go with the admin's email address. So for whatever the email address that you have given as an admin user, from that email, the customer will get an email, right? So in the two, I'm gonna say I have an Gmail account over here. So I'll just copy this email address. Either you can choose the you will have the default options like Zoho variables and the form fields. So either you can go with a static value, or you can go with the form fields. So basically there will be different customers, right? So you can go with the form fields that we have over here. So I'll choose the email, and you can give the subject to your email. So let's say I'm giving order confirm. You can also insert a field. So maybe if you have any order, if you have any order number field, or if you would like to go with any other fields, based on any fields that you would like to add the subject, you can do that. So let's say I'll add the order number. So order confirmed, and I'm giving the order number over here. I'll also add this. So now here is where this is where you will be customizing the message. What message needs to be sent to the customer? So let's start typing hello, and I'm going to insert a field. So you have a separate option to insert field. So insert field is nothing but whatever the fields that you have in that specific form, all those field will be displayed over here, and you can insert them inside your messages, right? So here I'll choose the customer name, customers. Now here I'm going to say your order is confirmed. Confirm again. I'll insert the order number. Yes, confirm. Thank you for purchasing with us. Have a now here I'm going to say thanks and regards. Zilker Home Appliance is ZHA. It's going to be thanks and regards. So again over here, if you'd like to attach the user, the customer submitted data, so there will be different set of data, right? So based on this particular email address, whatever the data is added, these data will be sent to the customer via email if you would enable this particular option. So if I enable this, it will ask me whether you need to go with the template 1 or template 2, and it can be inserted in the email as an inline content, or you can attach them as a PDF, right? So so I'll go with the template 1, and I'll attach template as PDF. And the content type, so how the content should be, either it should be in the plain text or it should be in the HTML type. So let's go with the HTML, and we'll save this. So now our action has been created, which is the email task, right? So I'll click on done, and I'll go to the live access. So over here, I'll just start. I'm sorry for the interruption. Is my screen and my voice is visible to everyone? Was there any yeah, so was there any interruption between the session? If so, please do let us know in the chat tab so that I can continue from there. Or if it is all good, I can continue from wherever I stopped it. Thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. All right. So we'll get started. All right. So I have configured the email task right now. I'll go to the I'll access this application the live mode. So here I mean we have written the workflow in the order details form, right? So I'm going to choose a customer name from this drop down. So let's say the customer name is Carlin Buris, and the email. So here I already have a Gmail account. So I'll just copy this email address and I'll paste them over here, and I'll give a phone number. So this is going to be the store pickup. So I'm not going to add the address. So I'll just directly give store pickup. And in the line items, I'm going to add few products. So I'll add the air conditioner, and I'll give it as 5 quantity. And also I need the fridge, and I'm going to say it's going to be again the 5 quantity, and the subtotal is calculated. Along with that, we also have the grand total calculated. Now I'll submit this. So once I submit this, it will the customer will receive an email, right? So I'll just refresh. Yeah. So here you can see we have received the email, right? So you can see we have chosen this particular customer name, and this is the message that we have given, right? Your order is confirmed and the order number. Thank you for purchasing with us. Have a nice day. And all the information has been received. And along with that, you can also see this attachment, right? So if I click on that, only that particular, whatever that particular customer has ordered, that will be shown over here, right? So you can see the product information, the grand total, their informations like the name, email, phone, and the addresses, right? So this is exactly how it works. So based on the notification action, you can perform either you can perform the email task, or you can perform the SMS, or the rest of the notification that we have, right? So this is again, this is what I would like to show you in the successful form submission action. Now, so now we learned, right? Now we learned about the form workflows, how easily you can go ahead and do all these simple automations within your platform, right? Now let us try to understand how we can perform schedule workflow inside our application. So all the workflow will be listed over here. So whatever the workflow that you have created, it will be shown under that particular tab. So for the form workflow, you can see form with workflows. So whenever a workflow is created inside a specific form, that will be listed over here. Whereas whenever there is no workflow as written to any forms, that will be listed as forms without workflows. And also you can filter by form, even in case if you would like to filter the if you would like to filter the workflow within your form workflow, that is also possible. Here you can see based on the form event, you can go ahead and filter them, right? So coming back to the schedule workflow, let us understand how exactly this schedule workflow works. So I'll just click on the create workflow, and as soon as I click on the create workflow, this is going to be our UI, where you can see the where you can go with the specify date and time, and you can also go with the choose a date field, right? So over here, this particular action will work based on whatever the date and time that you are going to specify it over here, right? Whereas if I would like to go with any if I have, let's say that I'll have a date field in the, I think it will be in the job sheet. Yeah. So here you can see I have a field, right, which is the date field. So if I would like to, if I would like to create a scheduler workflow based on this particular date field that I have inside my job sheet form, that is possible. And that is possible with the option we have right here, which is choose a date field. So all you have to do is you just need to choose the specific form, and then within that specific form, whatever the field is in the date field, that will be listed out over here. So you can see installation date is the field that we have, right? So these are the two different scheduler workflow that we have. So now let's go with the with the choose a date field. So I'll say I'll go with the job sheet, and the date field is going to be the installation date, and the execute workflow, it's going to be either on the date above. So whatever the date that you have given here, it will be executed on the date above, or it can be executed on the date after, or it can be executed on the date before, right? So these are the three execution these are the three execution types that we have. So over here I'm gonna choose before. So because this particular form is to send, we will be allocating the technicians to different jobs, right? So to the different installation job. So we'll be choosing the technician name, the you will be giving the order number, and along with that you will also be choosing the installation date. So what I actually want to do is I would like to send an email reminder to that particular technician on the date before, right? So let's say the installation is for tomorrow. I would like to send a quick reminder to the technician saying you have a reminder, you have a job that we have assigned. So I need an I wanted to send a reminder to that technician. So for this, I have chosen the choose a date field. And so that's the reason I have given the before. And here the count is going to be, you need to mention the days. So maybe it can be 2 days, before 2 days, or it can be before 1 day, or it can be 3 days, all that, right? So I'll go with before 1 day. And the at time, so you can also specify on which time exactly that you would like to send this reminder. So let's say I would like to send this reminder at 10 o'clock in the morning. And repeat interval, whether you would like to send this, or send this only once, or on daily basis, or on weekly basis, or monthly, or yearly. So that can be choose from this repeat interval option. So I'm going to send this reminder only on this particular date, so it's going to be only once. And I'm going to name this workflow as, let's see, I'm just giving the installation reminder as the workflow. So here is something that you should notice. We have something called run this process. Even you guys would have noticed in the form workflow as well. So we had this on condition and always. So for each and every workflow that you create, this is going to be everywhere. So you can either perform this workflow in on always, or you can perform this or you can perform this workflow on condition, right? So you know, right, if you go with the condition, you need to specify the field, you need to choose the operator and the values. So I'll go with the always now, and I'll click the create workflow, and I'll click on the add new action. So here again, I'm going to choose the notification, and I'm going to say, again, it's going to be the send email, right? So I'll go with the admin's email address, and in the two I'm gonna give the logged in's user email, because even the custom even the technician will have the access to this particular form, right? So it's going to be the logged in user address. And in the subject, I'm going to say job reminder. Now here I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to attach the field, which is the technician name. You have a job. I'll just add the order number, and I'm going to say this is a gentle reminder. Along with this, I'll also give the date. Now I'll say thanks. Zilker home appliance. Now here, you can choose, you can attach the report, or you can, if you have any files to be attached with this email, you can do that. So now here I'm going to attach the report, which is going to be the all job sheets. So it can be in the PDF, or in the Excel, CSV, or TSV format. So let's go with the PDF. And in the file attachment, if you would like to add any files, that can be added over here. The content type, either HTML or the plain text. Now I'll save this. That's it. So this is the simple method, right? So whenever I would like to send a reminder to the technician, I can go to the scheduler workflow, I can schedule a particular date and time. On basis of that, the technician will receive an reminder. Right? So this is one way to create your schedule workflow. So basically on the on so let's say if I'm assigning a job, or the installation date is like tomorrow. Today, 10 a.m., the reminder will be sent to the technician. So the other way is we have the specify date and time, right? So right now we saw choose a date field. If we talk about the specify date and time, you will be specifying a particular date and time. So let's say I'm gonna choose today's date, and I'll just give a quick time. Let's say it's 15:25, or maybe it's all right. So let's say it's 3:25 IST, and it's going to run on only once, and the workflow is going to be installation reminder. So I'll click on this create workflow. Now I'll click on the add new action, and over here you will have three set of actions: notification, data access, delete script. If I go to the notification action, I'll have two options: either I can send an email or I can send a SMS. So if I click on the send SMS, it will ask you to give the number and as well as the message. Before that, you need to create the connection, right? So whatever the we have the clickatel. So if you need to send the SMS via the clickatel, you can use the you need to create the connection between. You need to create a connection before. Only then you will be able to access this particular action. So let's say I'll click on the notification again, and I'll go with the email, and I'll say the admin email address, and I'll say job reminder. I'll add quickly. I will add the I'll say hello Niveta. It's a quick reminder. Here I can choose the report. So let's say it's the job sheet I'm choosing, and I'll save it. So it's going to be from is going to be the admin user. The two is going to be the admin user. So I'm going to send an email to this particular email address. So this is the admin email address. So I'm going to send a quick reminder to that particular email address itself. So I can save this. And within this particular workflow, you need to create multiple actions. You can also do that by clicking the add new action that we have over here. Right. So I'll give done. So automatically on 3:25, you will be, this particular person will receive an email. Right. So this is about the scheduled workflow. So basically, you will be scheduling a workflow when it should be triggered, when it should be executed. Right. Now then we have the approvals. Right. So approval is basically whenever you would like to set any approvals inside your application. So I have given an example, right, which is the leave management. So whenever it's going to be approved by any of your manager or your CEO, you can create this approval workflow. So in order to perform this particular workflow, I'm going to create a new form which is going to be the leave request form. So within the same application, I'm going to create it from scratch, and I'm going to say as leave request, because in this organization there will be several employees, right? So for those employees, I'm going to create a separate form where I'm going to create a separate form for to apply their leaves. And yeah, here we have created the leave request, right? So within this particular form, I'm gonna add few of the fields, saying the employee name and their email address, and the leave reason is going to be added in the multi-line field. So I'm going to say leave reasons, or the leave reason, and they are going to choose their date, on which date that they would like to take leave. So we'll say leave date. Now I'll click on the done and I'll access this in the live mode. So here you can see we have the employee name, email, leave reason, and the leave date. So for this particular form, I'm going to create the form, approval workflow. So I'll go to the edit mode, approvals, and I'll click on the create workflow. So here I'll be choosing the form. So leave request is the form, and I'm going to give a name as leave approve, and it's going to be on always, and it's going to be add new approver. So here is where you'll be selecting the type, either the user or the role or the field. So on what basis that you would like to select the approver. So they can be a user of your application, or they can or you would have set some role, or there can be any field. So if you have any field, user field, then based on that field you can add or select the approver. So if I go with the user, if I have any user added inside my platform, they will be listed out over here. So here I'm going to choose the admin's account, which is the C6 creator training. I'll add them, and the approval label can also be renamed. Now right now it is in the approve reject, right? So you can also rename it as, let's say, like approved or rejected, right? So I'll save this approver. Now the action is created. I'll give done. If I go back to this application, the live mode, let's see how it's working. I'll just add my name and I'll try to submit this form. Let's say I'm just taking a sick leave, and it's going to be tomorrow, and I'll submit it. So as soon as I submitted, you can see in this tab itself, you can see the notification symbol over here, right? So you can click on that, and over here you can see you have an approval action pending, right? So click on that. So this is one way you can access the approval through the notification icon, and by clicking on that, it will take you to this particular UI. So from here you can either approve or you can reject it. As also, as soon as you create an approval workflow, a separate tab will be created over here. So you can see them over here, right? So a separate tab will be created with the pending task and the completed task. So once your once your request is approved, it will be in the completed, but while it is not approved yet, it will show in the pending task. So now I'll approve this. While approving, you can also add the comment. Let's say, since it is a sick leave, let's say I'm typing as take care, and I'll approve it. So now if I go to the completed task, you can see it has been approved, and in the view details you can see the see which whose request has been approved, and the approval history when it is approved, along with the comment that we have given. So this is exactly how the approval workflow works. And also, whenever you would like to add multiple approvers, all you have to do is, again, you need to click on the add new approver from here, and you can start adding new approvers within the same approval that you have, same approval workflow that you have created. Right. So this is all about the approval workflow. The next topic is going to be about the blueprint. So let us understand what is blueprint in Create, right? So talking about the blueprint part, so when I mean, a blueprint is basically an online replica of your business process, right? So it will basically helps you in streamlining the process management by facilitating automation, validation, and collaboration among various stakeholders. So for example, you can track and manage a software development lifecycle, and also you can track the procurement process, verification process. All this can be tracked internally within your application. So that is something we call it as the blueprint. Here is a quick components that you can see it for blueprint. So in blueprint we will have stages and the transition. So under the transitions we have common transition and the parallel transition. So let me explain it to you. So blueprint is nothing but, for example, let's say right now we have created an order management application, right? So within the order management application there will be several internal process, right? So once the customer places an order, it will then be moved to next step, right? So once he places an order, the next step is going to be they will be checking, verifying whether this particular product is available or not. So if it is available, the next step is going to be, it will move to the packing team, right? So the packing team will pack all their product. So once the package is done, the next step is going to be sending it, they will be shipping the product, right? So once that process is done, the next final process is going to be delivering the product, right? So there are different process involved in the order management. So as a business owner, let's say that I'm the business owner and I would like to, I don't have any clarity on what's exactly happening with any of these process. So in order to gain that particular information, in order to know that particular information, I can create this blueprint. So this blueprint will allows me to check the status, where it is exactly, where this order is. So I can see the progress of the order, right? So here in the blueprint, these components, right, we have stages and transition. So this stages will allows me to know the stage between. So for example, I told you, right, we have the order placed. Once the order is placed, it will move to the it will go and verify in the inventory. So there will be an inventory check, right? So the order placed and the inventory check are going to be the two different stages, right? So in between, the people will go and check the product, right? So there will be some transition happening between the order placement and the inventory check. So that is something we call it as the transition. So under the transition we have two different types. One is common transition and the parallel transition, right? So these are the components of blueprint. So here is a pictorial representation of the blueprint. This is exactly how the blueprint will be inside your creator platform. So this is how you will be creating, right? Now, so this is the UI for your blueprint creation. So I'll quickly show you this in the live demo as well. So within the same workflow tab itself, you will have the blueprints here, right? So you can click on the blueprint, click on the create blueprint, and over here I'm going to choose the order form. The name, I'll say track orders, track order, and it's going to be in the always. So this is the UI where you will be adding different stages and the transitions. So now I'll quickly, you can see all these are already created. In case if you would like to create few more stages, you can click on this add stage, you can give a name to your stage and you can add them. So now I'll just quickly add them over here and I'll just rename it as, you can just drag and drop it to this particular builder, blueprint builder, and you can start creating your own blueprint flow. So now here I'll give a name saying order placed. And the next is going to be the next stage is going to be order dispatched. and the other stage is going to be out for delivery. And I'll add one more stage. I'll say order cancelled. I'll click on the add and I'll drag and drop it over here. So now we have created the different stages. So these are the different stages, right? So you can see we have created, it's going to be first, it's going to be in the start, and then it's going to be the order placed, order dispatched, a product out for delivery, and the order cancelled. So in between these stages, there will be several transitions. So I'm going to create a transition. So you can see a blue dot over here, right? When I hover the mouse here, you can see. So from here, I'm just going to drag, and a transition will be created. So you need to give a transition name. So first it's going to be check one. So as soon as a order is placed, there will be the quality check. So if the product is available, it will go for a quality check, and then it will go for the delivery, right? So now here there is going to be two quality check. So in order to perform two different in order to create two transitions, I'll just click on here, and over here I'm going to say parallel transition. So here I'll say quality check 2, and I'll add it. So there will be two quality checks. So I have used the parallel transition. So parallel transition is nothing but when it's moving to one a quality check to another. I mean, when it is transfer when it is transiting to one quality check to another, that's when you will use the parallel transition, right? So once it is done, once the quality check 1 is done, then it will go to the quality check 2. So you need to approve that, only then it will go to the next step, right? So this is about the parallel transition. Now between the order dispatched and the product delivery, I'm going to add another transition saying out for delivery. So this has been added. Now within this particular order cancelled, I'm going to add another transition saying delivered to customer. And over here, till the order cancel, I'm going to create a transition saying cancel the order. And this is going to be a common transition. So the common transition, nothing but this is going to be common in all these stages, right? So whenever, if the customer would like to cancel the order, they will have the option to cancel it, right? So that is the common transition, and this transition will be available in all the different stages, right? So this is our blueprint flow we have created. So first it's going to be order placement, and then in between there is going to be a transition where there will be different quality checks, and then once the quality checks are done, the order will be dispatched, and before dispatching there will be another transition which is the out for delivery, and then after that there will be the delivery to customer, or if whenever it is required, the customers can cancel the order in between, right? So now I'll save this, I'll give done. Now I'll show you how this can be viewed inside your application. I'll go for the edit mode of the application, and here you will have the two different options in your report, right? Which is configure field for web and the open report properties. I'll click on the configure field for web, and over here I'm gonna add the blueprint stage. I'll close this. I will reload it. So here you can see blueprint stage has been added, right? So when you add a record, so let's say I'm just adding a record. I'll quickly add them. So you can see right now it is in order placed. So if I click here, you can see the blueprint stages over here. So right now you can see both these transitions should be completed, or they can also cancel the order between. So once it is completed, the status will be changed. And here you can see, to move on to the next stage, again you need to go to this transition, because it is a parallel transition. One is completed, the other one also needs to be completed, right? So again it's going to be the quality check too. Now it will change the status to order dispatched. So from here I can go click on the out for delivery, and again you can see the status to next stage, which is product out for delivery, and then delivered to customer. So that is going to be our final stage, right? So this is exactly how your blueprint works. Whenever you do not have any clarity inside your organization, what's happening with the internal process, you can easily go ahead and track them with the help of blueprint, which will help you to streamline your business processes, right? So this is about the blueprint that I would like to show you in this particular topic. So with this, we have come to an end of this particular topic. So if you guys have any questions, or if you couldn't understand any part of this particular topic, you can post your questions in the question tab. My co-trainer will be happy to answer them, right? And if we do not have any questions, we will be moving on to our next topic, where we will be understanding our other component, which is reports, right? So I'll be on mute for a couple of minutes, and then we will be moving on to our next topic. So thank you, everyone. So I hope all your questions are getting answered. So is it okay if we can move on to our next topic? If that is okay, please give me a quick reaction so that we'll move on to our next topic. Thank you, Vishen. Can I get few more? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that quick reaction. So we'll get started now.